What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about, I may have talked about this in other videos, but it's one of these topics that is kind of fun to go back to. And I would say that that is this topic of speed up of time. So speed up of time, have technologies that can do stuff much faster. It is a form of a speed up of time where it works different for different human beings because different human beings are at different levels of discovery, especially when it comes to like new technology. For example, if we take, for example, this blockchain stuff, just as a person, to like try to understand it, um, you have to invest a few years of your life just to grasp a couple of concepts. And most people just don't have that time, or maybe they don't find it interesting to invest all that time and energy and life into that. So people are at different levels of experiences when it comes to this topic of speed up of time. And it's just that like when you really pay attention and see what actually goes on, um, you see that you're investing a lot of times looking into a screen, listening to other people, but you also see how it kind of pays off eventually, that the knowledge and information gathering that you're doing, even though it seems like you're not doing that much, it seems like you're actually wasting time and energy listening to a lot of people. But from my understanding is the more and more you take in information and listen to people, your intelligence starts to adjust itself, where you want more and more in-depth stuff, and you start to become very, let's say, aware of who knows what you're talking about and who doesn't really seem to be plugged in that much into great sources. And when you're starting this, especially in this crypto industry, at the beginning, you're just ignorant. Like you have no idea about anything. But eventually, and this takes a long time, many years, but I've been in this space for soon 3 years. So, but eventually, yeah, you start to kind of learn more. Yeah, you see where you're ignorant yourself, and you can spot other people's ignorance, and you can also see who seems to be knowing more stuff that's gonna advance you faster and save more time and energy in the long term, because you're making better decisions in the long term. So it's like a time boost, making leaps in time. And this at the moment, I think it happens more on an individual level, but then eventually we're probably going to have it happen in more large scale ways, where when you have core structures in, let's say, a society, if they make a few key changes to create more efficiency, for example, they can do a circular economy where all the um, all the parts of an economy that they're running on the same new modern efficient tech system that is just making, if you have if to have a circular economy, you need, so you have production, they need to be paid. So you need, everyone basically needs to operate in the same sort of ecosystem. Just because right now in let's say, especially with the crypto ecosystem, we're still like learning, we're still like expanding our borders of ignorance and realize what is stupid idea, what is a good idea, what seems like it may have potential. And what you also sort of realize is you're always going to keep on expanding your borders of ignorance, and that's one aspect that's never going to stop. So you're always going to have more, you're always going to see more stupid things, and you're always going to learn more things, and you always, and that's one of the prize of like become like intelligent, is like that you have to try a lot of things, and see what doesn't work, failures and success, and observe all of this. So yeah, when you have this like circular economy, when everyone is running on the same kind of system, whatever system now that's going to be, you see that that is really when stuff like starts to kick in like super mega efficient. But when you kind of are people playing in different systems, like some people in the old system, some people in the new system. So in many ways, if you're just looking at it from the short term side, the new technology actually looks so much inferior. Like in the short term, it looks like it's actually making stuff worse, and actually, it's making stuff worse in the short term. But if you are studying it a little bit more, you see that, oh wait a sec, this is actually making stuff better, but in more subtle ways. And the speed up of time is really like fascinating. And the core way the individual now can notice that is they can probably notice that they have a bit more time on their hands to do own discovery, like that you can take in information more from, let's say, a YouTuber, or you are discovering something great in a Telegram thread or whatever. You're doing more exploration. You're more exploring life beyond, let's say, survival. And that we have really, in many ways, especially in the short term here, maybe the last 50 years, somewhat complicated basic things like survival and made it way more complex than what it actually should be. But then also now we're starting to see a little bit of the benefits of technology, but then we're gonna have other things popping up. Yeah, other things popping up that is gonna concern, or that humans are gonna dive deeper into stuff that we have not considered that much in the past. But in many ways, it becomes more of a luxury problem, maybe, compared to. So you can see almost like problems goes from you started to have first individual problems, and then you have like more like a luxury problem. Maybe it would be like a large scale problem that involves more people. That may be a more complex task to try to solve, but maybe it's also going to be more rewarding when that then happens. So yeah, it's interesting. And just because stuff happens so fast in this tech industry, like people have the paradigm shifts at different time. So maybe someone was early into some technology, maybe Bitcoin or something like that, and they those who rode that to like the top and never sold and stuff like that, they probably had a certain sort of paradigm shift, and they were kind of starting to realize like where stuff is going, and they were kind of doing time jumps in the way where they had a personal experience of something that could create value so much faster. But so they are running that course. So one group gets that sort of experience of like a speed up of time that, well, now I have all this value, right? But that doesn't mean that people on a larger scale in society have yet to had that kind of paradigm shift, because they wasn't there at the time. They were not exploring those things at that time, so they sort of have to wait maybe for their own opportunity to have that in some other thing that like pops up. Because like opportunities in something, take gold for example, a couple of 100 years ago, those were first in that, they got the most rewards. And yeah, so it's like people that benefit from something, they're usually there the first couple of years. And then you always have this like run up of new things and new opportunities and stuff like that that pops up. And yeah, so people are at different experiences of this feeling of speed up of time. For example, a lot of people on a larger scale get this feeling of speed up of time when they're buying a new smartphone, and they see how much better it is than their last model. They can do the same amount of work faster, and they have more time over. And that's a more example of something that happens on a larger scale. And the challenge, what you want to do is like you want society at a larger scale to have that experience of speed up of time. And there then is a lot of factors then that is at play, like how you get people to have that experience. So I think it's a fascinating topic, to be honest, because I don't think most people are like considering it. For example, something that I kind of consider a lot these days is when I'm looking at the news on the TV, it more and more seems like, yeah, they're just talking about the same stuff, and you can sort of save a lot of time. So you can kind of speed up time by doing videos yourself, like I'm doing right now. And you can basically, and other people can that want to watch that, they can go in and watch it, and it just makes stuff more better, like more efficient, speeds up time more. And people sort of realize that they only need basically access, right? And then when they have like access, then they can go and do stuff, and they don't have to wait for someone else to tell them that, oh, you can go do that now. They can just go and do it. And that's what you're seeing with better technology when it gets into people's hands. So yeah, I love this concept. I think it's so fascinating to see. Especially, it's going to be interesting to see when people at larger scale get that kind of experience of, whoa, we can have this like supercomputer now that stands in a corner and can do so much computation, and no human has to do all these manual labor. Like, it's going to be so cool to see when people have that paradigm shift and when they also realize it in many ways. So yeah, that's what I want to talk a little bit about in this video. Have a great day, DTube and the Steam blockchain. Bye bye.